Good afternoon, my fellow aquarium scientists. Hope everybody is doing well this fine afternoon. Before we get into the main event of this live stream, we'll take a moment, let some people come on in. In the meantime, if you guys want, if you go to the description of this live stream, you'll see what we're going to be talking about, and if you want to if you want to explore with me, you're welcome to download what we're going to be looking into, if that makes sense. So feel free to check that out. If you don't want to download it, it's up to you. um but yeah, we're starting to see some people pop in. How's it going, Kuro? Thank you for stopping by. Shady Grady, welcome. We've got Robert Reed, welcome. But yeah, so while people shuffle in, so like I said, this live stream is going to be focusing on, we're going to be focusing on something in this live stream, but that doesn't mean you guys can't ask questions regarding, and husbandry or things like that. You're more than welcome to put that. I would recommend just tagging me, like, add Professor FishTanks or whatever, so that I can kind of see that, okay, this person is asking me something. But in the meantime, just a few updates on what's going on. So I finally was able to clear out this tank here, and then I was able to put in some of the tissue culture plants that I have. The light that I have on here isn't on its timer yet. I have to basically turn it on when the others turn on, and then turn the timer on, and then it'll program itself. um it's a little bit annoying, but for what the lights are, it's perfectly fine. um and then this tank is doing very well. All the fish are nice and healthy. The Ludwigia species that I have in here is not doing too well, and it's mainly because of the light. There's just too much blockage from the floating plants for it to get enough light, so I'm just going to yank that out. um but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. um let's see who else is here. Shady's working on his tanks while watching. Perfectly fine. Jeff Kane, how you doing? Thank you very much for stopping by. Night Owl Aquatics, welcome. So yeah, like I said, the main focus is going to be on, might as well talk about it. So if you guys aren't already aware, Tropica Aquarium Plants came out with a new app. It's available for iOS and Android. The links to download them are in the description below. But what I thought was, I'll share my phone screen and we'll kind of go along and check out the app. It's a pretty cool app. See see what tools are there, things like that. For those of you who are big Tropica fans, this is definitely an app you should have. Um, just a disclaimer: I am by no means sponsored or being paid by Tropica to talk about it. I'm just a huge fan of Tropica. If you've seen my live streams in the past or my videos in the past, um, my business Atlantic Aquarium started because of Tropica. So I absolutely love Tropica, and yeah, so feel free to download it if you guys want. But I'll have it shared on the screen, so that at least you guys can see what I'm seeing, and we'll kind of go through. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section, or if you have any questions in general. I'm hoping that we won't take too much time on the app. we're going to go through everything in the app. So it might take the entire hour, it might not. If we go a little over the hour, that's totally fine. If people have other questions they want to ask, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so I think we can at least start for now. So let me share the screen, and then while I'm sharing the screen, I might disappear, but I'll still be here. Um, so just give me a moment here. Okay, then let me do that. And I think I might have to take that banner away because it is blocking something. Yep, it is. Okay, no problem. I can take the banner away. So yeah, when you download the app, now it might ask you to create an account, and there's a reason for that. We'll go over in a bit. Before I continue, can I just get an audio and audio check if that you guys can still hear me though? Hello there, Fish Fan. Thank you very much for stopping by. But yeah, once you download the app, you open it up. It may, thank you, Jeff. It may, ask you to create an account. Um, and then once you're in on the app, this is what you normally would see. So it has a little slider on the top here. Um, and then the first thing you come across is just a gallery of what I like to call aquascaping recipes. So we'll take a look at a few of these, especially one that I plan on utilizing or recreating myself. But basically, Tropica gives you these aquascaping recipes that a lot of aquascapers have done that you are welcome to recreate or add your own little spin to it. So let me find the one that I am most likely going to be doing. And also, if you notice on the corner, it'll even tell you the difficulty of the aquascape. Is it a easy to maintain aquascape? Is it a intermediate, or is it an advanced level aquascape? And the one that I'm planning on recreating, if I can find it, where to go? Oh, here it is. So it's called Breezy. And so you would tap it. And then what happens is if you look at that image on the top there, you see those little pulsating circles. Now you can also kind of swipe left and right to see the entire thing. And now those pulsating circles, if you tap one of those, it tells you what plant that is roughly. It's in roughly in the position of that same plant, but then it will actually, if you tap it, it tells you what plant it is, and then you can actually tap that icon and it'll bring you to that plant. So, and we'll look into this more in the products section of this app. But yeah, it brings you to the product page and it gives you all the scientific name, the level of difficulty, um, description. It even tells you layouts that that plant is being used in, and then it gives you more information on the bottom there. So let's go back to that layout. And then so like if I tapped another icon, it gives me um another product or plant, I should say. So yeah, so it gives you that image. If we scroll down, it gives you a little bit of a description by the aquascaper themselves. Um Daoming Mok, I believe is the name of the person. And then we'll go to that manual in just a second, but if you scroll down, it gives you all the plants that are used in the aquascape. And now you'll also notice, like for example, Anubias barderi petite. There's two images. Each image represents one portion, if that makes sense. So in this aquascape, this person used 2 pots of the Anubias barderi petite. Okay. And then they used 2 pots of Cypress helfari, 2 cups of the Myrophyllum metagrossensis, metagrossense, I should say, sorry. And then if we move down, it gives you the entire specs of the whole setup. So it tells you the size of the aquarium, if CO2 is utilized, um, what type of hardscape has been used in it, what type of fertilizer is being used, as well as how much and how often, right? The filtration, what kind of filter is being used, what kind of gravel or substrate is being used, lighting, the style, is it a nature scape, is it a Dutch scape, is it a iwagumi, is it a biotope, um so there's a difference. It's gravel, and then there's substrate. So the substrate is ADA Amazonia. So gravel is the DOA river sand. Um, Maintenance takes less than an hour. And then the volume of the actual aquarium. So it gives you a lot of information. And then if we click See Manual, it gives you actually a layout, a blueprint of the aquascape. So the black that you see there is the rock, and then you see those circles with a number in it. Now, if we zoom out and then zoom in here on this side, each number corresponds to the plant. So if we go back to that blueprint, if you look in the back, you'll see the number one. So if we go back to that list of plants, number one is that Merophyllum. Okay, and then it gives you the item number, so it's for you to be able to find it, and then it tells you how many pieces or how many portions they use. So for the Merophylla metagrens, they used 4 pieces. For Cypress, 3. Anubias bardari, 3 pieces. Cryptocoryne albida brown, 2 pieces. Hatonia palustris, 2 pieces. And Hygrophila carimbosa simensis 35B, they used 1 portion. um Again, this gives you uh a brief layout of the entire system, and also the plants that are being used in that aquascape. So it's a pretty cool thing they got here. So that's the aquascaping recipes. Oh, stand by. So that's the aquascape recipe. Okay. And obviously on the top right corner, it's your profile, um, which will bring you to the profile information. Now, if you look at the bottom there, you'll see that menu bar. So it's explore, products, my aquarium, dealers, more, etc. So let's move on to products. And I'm gonna stay there for a moment and just look at chat real quick. Um, hey there, Atkins, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Hope everybody's doing well. It's fine Sunday afternoon. Okay, um, so this brings you to the products. So this tells you all the products that Tropica has to offer. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind, um, there's no difference between Tropica, Tropica in general versus Tropica North America, if that makes sense. So all the plants and products you'll see here, some might not be available to North America, more specifically to the U.S. Retail, to U.S. retailers. So, for example, Cryptocoryne albida brown is not available from Tropica in the U.S. We're not able to get that in. So you just want to keep in mind of that. If you ever are curious as to if a particular plant is available, you can always reach out to the retailer, specifically me, and I can tell you whether or not we can get it in. So anyway, so you have on the top, you have 3 sections. You have plants, plant care, and favorites, right? Favorites is basically if you hit that heart icon on the product, it brings it to your favorites, um, things like that. You then have search, so you can actually type in a particular product name, and then it gives you a filter. So you can choose between difficulty. So if I hit difficulty, you can choose whether or not you're looking for easy, medium, or advanced. Height, so you can actually look into the actual height range that you're looking for, if that makes sense. And then origin, So if you're looking for a plant that comes from Africa, Asia, Australia, cosmopolitan, if it's a cultivar, and we kind of went over what a cultivar is. It's basically something that was grown under human care. It's not found in the wild. Europe slash Asia, North America, South America. Um, and then position, if you're looking for a background, center, foreground, midground, something that is a red plant, supporting plants, on rock or rooted, things like that. And then basically you can scroll and look at all the different plants that are available by Tropica. Um, these are not available in the US. I can tell you the plants in these blister packs, that what they call, they're not available in the US, so ignore that. And also like plants that are already attached to like rock or like a coconut husk is also not available in the US. Um, so that's plants. We move on to plant care. It's the same thing. So this is a little different. It's going to take a little bit for all the image to load up. Let me just double check on the um, chat here real quick. Shady says, too funny, Jeff. I don't know what that's about. Jeff says, Shady Grady, Stephen P likes to lurk until he finally feels like saying hi. Shady Grady says, I am old school and use the same notebook for 20 years. That's good. Um, thank you, Fish Family. Okay, so moving on. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to mention it. Um, I see we only have 8 people. That's okay. So yeah, so this gives you a brief rundown of all the dry goods Tropica has to offer. So like this is new from Tropica is the CO2 system bio, which is available on Atlantic Aquariums. And once you tap on that, it gives you a brief rundown of what the product is, things like that, how to use it. And then there's also a tab on the bottom for you to see the corresponding video um, that Tropica produces. It's pretty cool. So might as well mention. So right now we have CO2 system buy. We have the refill. Um, I have tweezers, the spring scissors. I have the aquarium soils. I have the premium nutrition, specialized nutrition, liquid fertilizers. I have the capsules, and then I also have the scissors, and I have the 3-in-1 CO2 diffuser. And then obviously you go to favorites. That shows you all the different favorite the products that you favored, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's the product section. Shady Grady says, wow, would love one of those. The CO2 system, I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, I have it. I have three. I have a quantity of 3 on in stock. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the My Aquarium section. This is really cool. So, oh, the diffuser. Yeah, I have a 3-in-1 diffuser. I know Stephen P uses it as well. He actually bought the replacement discs from me as well. It's a cool diffuser. It's a 3-in-1, so it has a bubble counter in it. It has a check valve, and then it has the disc in it as well, obviously. But yeah. And speaking of Stephen P, hello Stephen, how you doing, bud? Yes, Shady, you do have a coupon to use, and thank you very much for reminding me of that. So, in the previous live stream, when we were doing a review on scientific names, a few people won a discount code. Not everybody has reached out to me to claim it. So, if you have not claimed your discount code yet, please shoot me an email, and I'll have that sent to you. One person has already used their discount code, so which is cool. Okay, so Um, oh, we've got a question here. So Jeff says, Usama, is the CO2 the DIY type with the citric acid and baking soda? Yes. So let me go back over there. Well, I don't know the exact formula that they use, but it's close to that. It's basically in that pouch. It has the reagent which you mix with water, and it reacts obviously, and it produces CO2. Keep in mind this is for beginner people. Um, this is basically it gives you up to about 60 days of CO2 supply. It does not have a solenoid valve on it, so it's a constant CO2, um, which can be a little annoying to be honest with you. And then and the benefit of it is it's not gas. It's not like a gas cylinder. So once it runs out, you just open up the cap and you put a refill. You can buy more refills and you would just add on to it. And you're good to go. It's good for beginner to medium category plants, and you get about 60 days worth of CO2 from it. So Steven says, Usama, can you tell me more about those inline TDS meters? Which one do I get for my outdoor trash can RO water? So let me pull up. That's a good question. So we're gonna take a actually, Steven, that thought. Once I'm done with with this, we can talk about that. So um, actually, I'm just gonna do it now because I'm gonna forget later on. Stand by. Actually, let me stop sharing for a second. So let me share the screen. Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys can see, but I wanted to keep that the Steven's question up. So mainly so that I don't lose where I was. So yeah, so we're gonna go to aquarium equipment and supplies. We are going to scroll down. Atkins, this is still calling you, buddy. Still has your name on it. And I believe this is what Stephen was talking about. It's the Auto Aqua Digital Inline TDS meter. So for those of you who have RODI units, um, something to have actually. There are different options. So there is the TDS 100, TDS 100S, TDS 200S, TDS 300S, and in the more informations, it kind of gives you an idea of what it is. But basically, the concept of it is, um, excuse me, um, hang on a second, trying to navigate to what I want to do. Okay, so basically, what it is it's a probe that is hooked up to a monitor, which is this thingy right here. I don't know if you can see the cursor or not. Um, and the probe gets it gets installed into your main water line, if that makes sense. Okay, so there are different options as to what you can what it can measure. For example, so if you just want to measure the water coming out of your RODI unit, you can get the one probe. If you get the two probe, you can actually hook one probe up to the water before it comes into the RODI unit, and the other probe can be hooked to the line coming out of the RODI unit, if that makes sense. So the benefit of that is you can see what the TDS is as the water is coming into the RODI unit, and you can see what the TDS is of the water coming out. And that actually is beneficial to you because then you can actually determine whether or not your RODI unit is working properly, if that makes sense. I'm saying RODI unit, but it works for RO unit as well. I just say RODI is because that's what we use for saltwater systems. But yeah, so you have this one, the titanium S1, which is basically a monitor with a probe. This one, the titanium one, that's basically the probe hooked up directly to the monitor, if that makes sense. So it's not like something the monitor you can mount and then have a the probe going into the line. It's just one unit, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I believe we have this unit, and then you have the one probe, you have two probe, and then you have three probe. And I try to do my best with the information that the manufacturer gives me to kind of give you guys an idea of how it all works and things like that. Um, and this also tells you obviously what's included with each thingamabobber. So like for example, the TDS 100S, which is this guy right here. It comes with a digital inline TDS titanium S1 monitor, the CR 2032 lithium battery one, and then a 1/4 inch push connection union T. So it comes with that connector that normally you would use for an RDI unit to basically would just cut the line, and you would hook on to that T unit, and then you'd have one line going in, one line going out, and then that probe would fit into the other portion, if that makes sense. It's a pretty cool TDS monitor, and I've seen a few people use it, so definitely a tool for you guys to have. If you look at the display, it tells you the TDS, and it also gives you the battery, how much battery life is in there, things like that. So pretty cool. Let me go back here. Because I'm gonna be a little bit behind chat now, so let me stop sharing. I hope that was enough information for you, Steven. But if you have more, Steven, just feel free to email me or text me, email me or whatever, and I'll be happy to help you out with that. And if you're interested in any one of those, let me know, um, and I'll get you set with it. So Atkins says it's a yeast-based CO2 reaction. Yeah, yeah. There are a few versions out there. This one is like a pretty cool system. I have tested it out. I've also had people test it out. I've seen people test it out. Um, Google has come out with their version, but it's instead of like a plastic bottle. This is like this bottle is made so that it doesn't explode on you. But Fluval has also come out with one which is more of a classic aluminum type housing, but it's still the DIY like reaction based. Um, I don't believe it comes with a solenoid valve. I think the largest unit comes with a solenoid valve. I'm not too sure. Um, but yeah, in terms of what I have is I have the Tropica one. So if you guys are interested in that type of CO2 system, I definitely recommend giving the Tropica one a try. Hi there, Fathom. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I was watching your thing with Rico last night. It was a pretty cool interview. So Shady, everything that is in stock on the website is up to date. Um, on what you have in stock and how they work. Shady, what do you mean by how they work? but in terms of update on what's in stock, almost everything that is in stock on the website is up to date. That being said, I still recommend you guys to reach out to me if there's something that is out of stock and you're interested in. Either hit the notify when back in stock button, and or reach out to me, and I will work to get it for you. It's going to take a little bit of time, because I don't have funds to get anything in right now, mainly in terms of plant wise. But I ask for your patience, as I get it in. If you can't wait for me to get stuff in and you want to buy from somewhere else, by all means, go ahead. Um, no hard feelings here. But yeah. Um, my bank account says it's not ready yet. It's okay. Atkins has a triple TDS probe. Oop, chat chat was a little. Yep, so he has one out the tap, one off the membrane, and one off the DI stage. Cool. So Jeff says, "Do I offer TDS pens?" No. I actually have been trying to look into like the distributors that I get stuff from to see if they have. I think one of them does have a TDS pen. Um, so Jeff, if you're looking for that, I can look into that and let you know what I can get in. Um, but yeah, in terms of TDS monitoring, I have those that I just showed. So Atkins says those ones are nice because they're backlit. The HM ones aren't, and it's difficult to see in the dark. That is correct. These ones are backlit, so it's very easy for you to. The display is very good in that sense. So, Steven, I would recommend getting the double one. It's obviously up to you, but I would recommend getting the double one because you can hook one probe to the inflow and one to the outflow, and it'll give you an idea of when to change your cartridge if the RO system is working properly and things like that. So I would recommend the double probe, but it's up to you, whatever you prefer. Um, um, but yeah. So Shady says, "Can you show it to us, please, Professor?" Okay. I'm assuming you were talking about the probe. Um, Hello there, Sketty Nona. Thank you very much for stopping by. Fathom just woke up. Chat is jumping here. So Atkins is saying, "Are you ever going to order coral from Fiji now that they are open for export?" Woohoo! That's going to be a different conversation there, Atkins. I recently found out that they've opened up their exporting of Fiji corals. I am not in the liberty of ordering in any coral for Atlantic aquariums. Um, but definitely in the future, but it's nice to hear they're doing that. My question would be for how long? I doubt it's going to be open indefinitely because you never know, but yeah, I heard that they were opening back up on their exports, which is going to be interesting because there's a lot of farms there like that are sustainably growing corals and things like that, and I think that'll help in bringing in more of a variety and bringing and kind of helping the cost of the corals, if that makes sense, like the pricing of the corals. Um, but yeah, Fathom just woke up. Cool. So Cora is saying, what specifically is DI removing from your tap water? From what I understand, if you aren't using it to grow silicone crystals or manufactured semiconductors, most people don't need DI, only RO. Um, so from my understanding, so you have RO stands for reverse osmosis, DI stands for deionized water. So to be honest with you, the purest water you're getting out is if you have RODI, because you have a basically, because what I use is a four-stage. I use the aquatic life twist in four straight stage unit, which has the RODI components. It actually has it has carbon, it has the reverse osmosis membrane, it has the deionized cartridge, and then what's the other one it has? Oh shoot, I can't think off the top of my head. That's gonna bother me. Hang on, I need to see what that is real quick. Be da be doo be da ba da be dee da be dee da. Okay, so it has a sediment filter. It has a carbon block. It has the RO membrane and the DI filter. That's the four stage, um, which that's what I use. And you're getting like the purest water out of that. Um, so basically, from my understanding with using our DI unit, so what it happens, so like for example, the system that I use, okay, the um the sediment and the carbon cartridges are there to remove particulates and chemical components from the water, right? We all know carbon removes chemical. Sediment is basically to remove actual sediment products, sand, rust, things like that. Chlorine. The RO unit, um, the RO unit by itself cannot remove all of the TDS. But then adding the DI mixed bed resin, the DI cartridge, it removes any TDS that the RO membrane um doesn't get, if that makes sense. Okay, so it's basically just another add-on filter to the RO unit to get as much of that TDS as out, so that you're close to zero TDS, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah. But yeah, there are people that use regular RO. For the most part, when it comes to saltwater, many use RODI to just to be on the safe side. I use RODI. I recommend RODI for saltwater. Hey there, Zen. Thank you very much for stopping by. Freshwater people can be just as fancy. Let's be honest here, okay? Um, the amount of money you spend on saltwater stuff, you can spend the same amount of money on freshwater. Let's be honest here. It's just a matter of how much do you want to spend. Yep, so Atkins saying the membrane only removes so much, DI gets the rest. Yep. Shady says, and the diffuser question mark? Shady, what are you referring to? Hey there, Craig, Catfish Cave. Thank you very much for stopping by. Sorry, I'm trying to get through the chat real quick so we can get back to the Tropica app. So Jeff is looking for a quality TDS pen that can be adjusted, or I'm assuming calibrated. I would look into Hana Instruments. They've got a good stuff that you can also calibrate as well. Um, or if you're referring to adjusting, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to is calibrating it. If you're looking to adjust what TDS level you want it to be. I'm not sure if there's something out there. I might be wrong. But definitely there are TDS pens and whatnot that you would calibrate, and you want to be able to calibrate, because to make sure that you're getting a accurate number every time. Got Bunny Viper here. Welcome. Um, Atkins, why are you promoting other businesses, man? Come on. Nah, I'm just joking. Um, yeah, BRS has a good selection of TDS stuff. Let me see. Hopefully, you guys can't see what I'm seeing, but let me see if um one of the distributors that I use, if they have a TDS meter, and which one. Nope, they don't. Like they don't have the the pen. It's the monitor that I currently have is the only thing they have. So yeah, so if you're looking for a TDS pen in particular, Hana Instruments is a good one. I would recommend looking into. So yeah, I've already kind of explained the what it's all about. Um, but yeah, um, but yeah, I will always use RODI for salt water, or brackish, because like I said, the RO membrane doesn't get everything. Um, yes, Sketty. So that's a good point there. So it all depends on how much TDS you have in your water. If it's that low, your RO unit is going to um, is most likely gonna take it all out. Um, but if you have high TDS in your water, you definitely want to have that deionized um the DI cartridge on it as well, to just make sure that you're getting everything out. It doesn't hurt. If you have a four stage unit, it doesn't hurt to have it. I get paranoid a lot in terms of stuff like that. So I am more than what I'm happy to have. And there are people that talk about water wastage and things like that. Aquatic Life has they came out with a aquatic life aqua buddy or something along those, that's what it's called, that you hook up your RODI unit to, and it actually saves the amount of water wastage from it, not by much, but quite a bit. But yeah, like it's like I said, it's definitely, I will always have it, and I will always recommend getting an RODI unit versus an RO unit. So there definitely are things that we do in the hobby that has that type of mindset. That's what I am interested in. Is I take the this is how it's done, and I actually try and figure out why. And there's a lot of articles starting to come out that explains the why. BRS is also doing quite a bit. I don't know how much you want to believe it, because it is a corporate thing, but they do. But for me, I like to watch a lot of those videos where they're like comparing and contrasting and actually doing, they're actually doing testings and things like that. It kind of gives me at least a benchmark. Um, to do it. But there are a lot of other hobbyists out there who do their own thing and they share their own findings and things like that. Um, like I said, in the aquarium hobby, there are thousands of ways to do something, right? There are ways that you can get away with using tap water and adding salt in there, and you can keep saltwater fish. You also have to understand is what are you keeping in there. Also, if I am investing, I'm talking personally, if I'm investing hundreds and hundreds of dollars in a beautiful display because my aquariums are going to be beautiful, I'm going to invest in stuff that gives me peace of mind to an extent, that has been giving peace of mind to other people as well, right? I recommend an RODI unit. If you've done well with an RO unit, keep using the RO unit. I you weren't, people, have asked the question, they would ask questions, why this or why that. I give you my why and you do with that what you want to do. But I do agree with you, Coral, that there are things, but then again, if you look at it this way, the concept of it's how it's been done. A lot of these things have been done for years with good success. So people don't question it. They just do it because it's been done for so many years and it's done well for people, right? And that's the concept behind it. Um, some people take advantage of that concept, right? Some people, but that's just how it is. Yeah, so Zen says, would you say someone who lives in Texas with what amounts to liquid limestone is definitely going to need RO and DI for saltwater? Yeah, Zen, you're definitely going to need it. So Steven just ordered the probe and some Alternantha renickii pink. Cool. I will work on that order and get it out to you as soon as possible. Thank you. It's okay, Coral. It's all good. Um, like I said, the main focus is the app, but if you have questions, definitely okay with asking it. There definitely is misinformation out there, absolutely. Um, which is why you just have to be careful. And if you're connected with people who, to an extent know what they're doing and you're comfortable with them, it doesn't hurt to always ask multiple people what their thoughts are on that, and then you make your own choice based off of that, right? That's what I do. I never just listen to one advice and go with it. I always ask multiple people, especially those who I trust know what they're doing, and make my decision after that. And I also do my own studies and my own thought process with it to try and figure out, um if it's something I should get or not. Like, for example, the Neptune Apex, right? When it first came out, it was a really great product and I was a follower of it until recently, as their quality has, arguably started going down and giving a lot of issues. And now I'm hearing a lot about the Coral View hydros systems, right? And now I'm actually talking to people in the saltwater world, um if they've used it, or if they're familiar with its technology and things like that, and how that does versus the Neptune Apex. I'm trying to educate myself and see whether or not, when I have my own saltwater aquarium, should I stick with the Neptune systems, or should I try out, or should I go with the hydros, you know so yeah. Uh, okay, so Jeff says calibration is what I was referring to. So Jeff, the Hana Instruments TDS is something I would recommend you looking into. Okay, if you guys don't mind, um um I'm gonna continue on because I'm very behind chat. I do apologize. I do see Myrtle coming in. Welcome. I see Whip. Thank you very much for stopping by. Mark. Welcome. If I've missed anybody, I do apologize. But I kind of want to get through the Tropica app, and then I'm more than happy to, after we're done, to stay as long as you guys want to stay and answer other questions you might have about stuff. Let me just put the charger on here real quick. There we go. Okay, so let me share my phone screen real quick. Um, okay. All right. So we were going over products. So this is the product section. By the way, if you guys are just coming in, we're kind of doing an overview of the new Tropica app. If you go down in the description, there is a link to for you to be able to download it either for iOS or Android. And then you're more than welcome to open up the app and kind of go along with it with us. It's up to you. Um, since we've got more people in, we've got, wow, 18 people in. That's cool. Um, just a disclaimer, I am by no means sponsored or being paid by Tropica to talk about this. For those of you who know me well enough, I love Tropica. Atlantic Aquarium started because of Tropica, because I wanted to get in Tropica, I wanted to sell it. And so I personally love Tropica. I love their products. I will always talk good about them. And I love their app specifically. It's a really good tool to have. So even regardless if you are a Tropica person or not. And I kind of went over that. If you guys are coming in now, feel free to watch the replay because we went over the homepage and basically the product section. But we're gonna move on a little bit more. Um, so the next up is the My Aquarium section on the bottom menu. So this is cool. So this is actually not the first app Tropica came out with. This is the second app. The first app was mainly focused on this, what you're seeing here. So this is their 90-day guide. So if you're starting a brand new aquascape, this guide will kind of give you a step-by-step instructions of how to maintain your aquascape for the 90 days to make sure you have the best success possible. And the old app was just this. You would log in, you would add your aquarium information, your setup information, and then you would start the 90-day trial and it would send you notifications from time to time, excuse me, on what to do, when to do their next water change, when to start dosing fertilizers, things like that. So you have that plus button on the bottom there. And also another thing, so you have that on the top. It says, make your aquarium a success with our 90-day guide. On the bottom, you have more guides. So it tells you getting the right start. It gives you a guide on hardscape and substrate. It gives you a guide on planting, aquarium care, trimming, keeping algae under control, which is my favorite. um, but yeah, so let's tap on one of these guides. So let's tap on guide to planting. So I'm seeing a question by Bunny. So you guys, is the professor an actual professor or is that just his screen name? I'm curious. Don't know the answer. Thanks. So a little bit of backstory. So I wish this was a name given to me by people, but it's a name I gave to myself. The concept of professor is there's a few things regarding why I refer to myself as professor. One being obviously I'm a scientist and I love to educate on the sciences and technology of fish keeping and husbandry, and I love, and one of my goals as a career standpoint is to be a professor. I want to teach college, university level, and that's the type of, in terms of this YouTube channel, that's what I'm going for. Is you're gonna see a lot of videos on the in-depth biology, chemistry, physics, technology of how, of everything regarding aquatic and semi-aquatic husbandry. Like, basically, think of it this way: when you're on my videos and live streams, think of it as you're in a college course. That's how I want to go around with it. If that's your cup of tea, then I'm happy. I'm happy you guys are gonna come along on this journey with me. If you guys are like, oh shoot, this is a college type thing, I'm out of here. That's totally fine. I am going to be doing videos on setups and things like that, but I'm going to do a lot of species spotlights. I'm going to do a lot on how certain tech works in the hobby. I'm going to talk about the in-depth chemistry and things like that. Like, there's a video I'm planning on going in depth on the photosynthesis of aquatic plants, whether it be saltwater, freshwater, um, things like that. But that's kind of the benchmark of it. Is for those of you who are really into the science of things, of our hobby. Um, but yeah, so I'm, by profession, I am not a professor. But um, but it is a goal of mine, hopefully, is to become a professor. And it's just a nickname I gave myself as of right now. Um, I promise the day that I do become an actual Professor Fish Tanks, I will let you guys know, if you guys stick around with me with the journey. Um, Coro says profiteer. No, I don't like to think of myself as a profiteer. I know I'm pretty sure it's as a joke, but I don't want you guys thinking of me as profiting from any of this stuff or anything like that. If you guys support me financially or whatever, I appreciate that. If you guys do not, I don't care. Um, I'm passionate about fish keeping. This is all I talk about. um, Other than this, I have no other social life. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Um, so I can talk about this stuff all day long. Um, but yeah, I'm sorry if it's a disappointment to you guys that I'm not an actual professor. Um, which is why, and I've never claimed to be more knowledgeable than anybody else. Um, you know, I'm new to this community. A lot of you probably don't know me as well, but you know other people in the community, so people might rather ask them about stuff rather than me, and that's totally fine. um but if there's any, if there's any form of knowledge that I give you guys that you think is worthwhile, then I've done my job, I think. So Sketty says, oh, I'm talking about Robert, sorry. uh So let's see here. Coro says professor is actually short for proficiencies, or is it profanity? Okay. Um, Stephen refuses to take any exams. Well, Stephen, don't know what to tell you about that. Nah, I'm not gonna do that stuff. But what I would like to do is, like, if I, because I have a series on YouTube, like a playlist. It's called Professor Fish Tanks University, and it's basically going to be videos about, about this, about that stuff. And then for every video or a few videos after that, like, we'll do live streams where we'll kind of do like a review, or if you have any questions you want to ask me in person about the topic of that video, that'll be your time to do so, if you don't want to put it in the comments. Um, but yeah, if it's your cup of tea, you're I thank you for being a part of the community. If you don't care about all that stuff and you just want to see people setting up cool tanks and all that stuff, there's a lot of people who do that, and I'm gonna do it too. But you know, when I was making this YouTube channel, I was trying to think of how I can make this different and something new for the community, and this is what I came up with. So, but yeah. So Coro says, now some I was just trying to find other words with professor as the beginning, no shade intended. I get it. It's all good. It's all fun and games. Um okay. Bunny says, Professor, we enjoy you. No worries. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Okay. Sketty Nona says, Professor, you are helpful, polite, professional, interesting, and educational. I try. I try my best. Um Okay, so let's continue. So yeah, so I clicked on a guide. This was on a guide for planting, and so if you scroll down, it's a pretty in-depth um, um, guide for you guys. And what I like is they split it into different types of plants, if that makes sense. So they've got a section here for stems. They've got a section here for rosettes. Rosettes is your crypts, your swords, things like that. You have carpeting plants, so a lot of your Eliocharis, your hair grasses, your what's the word I'm looking for? Your dwarf baby tears, um, Monte Carlo, things like that. Um, you've got your rhizomes, so your bulbitis, your water sprite, your ferns, your anubias, bucephalandras, things like that. And then you've got floating, which is, to be honest, self-explanatory. But what I like that they mention is sometimes when you get floating plants, they'll come with like really long roots. You want to trim those roots back a little bit to promote new, fresher growth, but also you don't want long roots dangling down in your tank. And then you've got mosses, obviously how to put mosses, and your bulb plants. So your lilies, your onions, Madagascarans, Aponagitans, excuse me. And then you have your stolons, your Vallisneria, Liliopsis, things like that. And then obviously you have your 1-2 grow, which has a whole different section on how to prepare the tissue culture plants. So let's go back. Okay. And then if I hit the plus button, this is now going to tell me it's going to ask me questions about my setup. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of it. You guys are welcome to do it yourself. But the first thing it does is how much light does your aquarium lamp provide? Usually whatever aquarium light you're using, it will give you that information, and hopefully they have an option for it. If you don't know, you just hit I don't know. Okay, so we will go back from that. Let me see if there's any questions or anything. Sorry if I've been skipping chat. Once if we get through this, I'll stay as long as you guys want, and we can do more questions or anything like that. Um, Moderators, if there's a question that you think I should look into, feel free to tag me in that or however way it works, and I will try and get to it. Okay, so next up, we're going to check the dealer section. Now, this is probably going to screw me over, but that's okay. So if I tap the dealers on the bottom there, so that is going to bring me to where you guys can find Tropica authorized retailers. Okay, now there's two sections here. There is all shops, so that includes website, online stores, and physical stores. Okay, and then you can also toggle to web shops, which is online stores. Okay, specifically. Um, Shady says, Professor, does the app cost money to use? No. That's a good point. Let me pull that up. So this is free to download. You don't have to pay or anything. It's just a tool for you guys to use as aquascapers or plant hobbyists. You just go onto Google Play or apps on the Apple App Store and just download it. It might ask you to sign in, make an account with them, and then you can use everything. You do not have to pay for the app. I believe there are no in-app purchases either. So Bunny Viper is talking about how they ordered plant weights. Bunny, if you're still looking for plant weights, I can get plant weights in. I have the aqua top plant weights. I believe there's 10 weights in a pack. If you're interested in it, you're more than welcome to get it. But I understand if it's already being taken care of. Uh, oh, we've got Annette. Welcome, Annette. Annette, I told Steven to send you the discount code for that you won from the raffle, or the giveaway tool thingy. I hope he sent it to you so you can use it whenever you want. Um anyway, so you've got all shops, you've got web shops. You can put in your city, country, things like that to find a local aquarium store that carries Tropica. With the website section, um, we're in the US, so if I tap all countries, scroll down to United States and hit apply, that gives you all the online stores in the US that carries Tropica. Okay. Some of these websites you guys are probably familiar with. If you guys are following along, if you downloaded the app or if you check the app later on and you scroll down and you're like, huh, Atlantic Aquariums is not on here. There's a reason for that. And it's a little bit annoying, but it's whatever. Basically, you have to consistently get stuff in from Tropica for them to keep you on the dealer list. That's because they want to make sure that all the dealers here have fresh stuff, if that makes sense. Even though, like, although I don't get in a lot of plants, even though all the Tropica plants I have are gorgeous, I've been sharing pictures with you guys. But I also have their dry goods stuff and things like that. But regardless, if I don't keep buying from them on a regular basis, they will not keep Atlantic Aquariums on the on this, if that makes sense. So you're not going to see Atlantic Aquariums on here until I make my next Tropica purchase. Um, so yeah, this gives you, a variety of different stores that have Tropica stuff. And you're obviously welcome to check all of them out. But yeah, and then we go to more, and this is just, more stuff. So your profile, notifications. This is there's a section on why you should want to grow tissue culture stuff or tissue culture plants from Tropica. Um, And I've talked about this a lot. So it kind of covers things that I've already covered, right? Most all the plants that are in the tissue, for the most part, that are in the tissue culture. Um, Sorry, I got distracted by the comments. Shade apparently Shady says my local fish store is a Tropica dealer. That's great, Shady, but do they carry everything from Tropica like I do? You guys can't see me, but I have like a cheesy grin with a thumbs up right now. But no, that's great, Shady. You can go to your local fish store and see what they got. Like I said, me showing that section is gonna screw me over, but that's fine. It's okay. Um, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, there we go. So yeah, like I mentioned, the tissue culture plants for the most part are already accustomed to underwater growth, and so you're not going to get a lot of melting. Good root structure. This is something that I've talked about a lot. So each cup is equivalent to about 4 pots of the same plant, if that makes sense. Um, yep, you see adapted to underwater growth and obviously free from pests, algae, diseases, things like that. It's a guarantee and a unique range. So not all plants that are available in tissue, excuse me, not all plants that are potted. What am I talking about, man? Not all plants are available in the Tropica potted range, but they are available in the tissue culture range. If that, um, so you'll get more variety in their tissue culture range versus their potter range. What I am trying to do is the plants that aren't really available in the potted range, I offer as the tissue culture. If there's a potted variety of the tissue culture, I would usually get the potted version. That being said, if there is a tissue culture version of a potted plant, and that tissue culture has done very well for me. I will usually get that in. So, like for example, the Sterigine repens, right? You can get that as a potted in the potted variety as well. But the tissue culture has just done really well for me. I get it in the tissue culture stuff. So it just depends on what I want to get in, but but there's definitely more plants available in their want to grow range than there is in their tissue culture range. Or excuse me, their potted range. Um so Zen says my I love my local fish store. They are a Tropica distributor or retailer, but they don't keep them all refrigerator. And if you don't get them new, you lose a lot. That is true. That is true. I have been wanting to get in a refrigeration system for the tissue culture, but I there's two reasons why. One, I don't have the space, and two, I don't have the money. Um, but thankfully, because I'm in a basement area, the temperatures in my basement are cool enough that the tissue culture plants do very well in accordance to what Tropica recommends to the keep them in terms of the temperature. Bunny doesn't have a local fish store. That's okay. You can have a local online store or your go-to local or your go-to online store, especially in Texas in August, seeing some really sad TCs. Yeah, yeah, heat is not good for tissue cultures. I've had my fair share of issues shipping tissue cultures in during the summer. I'm trying to work on it. For this year, I'm trying to figure out what I can do in terms of shipping them specifically. Um, but yeah, basically, if it's too hot, don't order plants. Um, but or you can opt in for the overnight, and so that way they're not staying in the elements for too long, if that makes sense. Shady, I believe it's one. Our country, the United States code is one. Myrtle, I definitely have, and it's not pleasant at all. Yep, definitely not a smell you wanna to do. Um, sorry. Whip says, "Dang it, I've been in and out and have lost the bread trail of what we're talking about. Someone catch me up." Hopefully somebody will catch you up, Whip, but then you can also watch the replay. But we're going over the Tropica app. Um Yes, Myrtle. Extreme heat and freezing temps are an enemy of the plant, which is why I mentioned, the max temperature and the lowest temperature that I am willing to technically ship. But like I said, if you are not comfortable with the temperatures in your area, don't bother getting ordering plants. Wait until the temperatures get a little better. You have more of a leeway with cold temperatures because there's heat packs and whatnot. But with heat, we don't have a cold pack that lasts that long. So it can be very difficult, which is why I would recommend either do overnight or just wait. So Karo says, what about an autoclave so you can make your own tissue cultures? Forget a fridge. Let's get you a lab. And no, you know, it's doable, but I like Tropica stuff. I know people have been asking me about why I don't cultivate my own trim culture my own plants and whatnot and things like that. It's because I want to be a reliable Tropica retailer. If you want Tropica stuff, you can come to me for it. Um, you can get homegrown plants from other places too, right? But if you want Tropica quality, you can get them from me. And it is a lot of work to do tissue cultures. And Tropica has a video on how they do their tissue cultures. Um, yeah, you definitely need like a lab to do that. Okay, let's move on. I think I'm caught up with chat. Okay, so let me hang on. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. So you've got Y12 grow, and then you've got new from Tropica. So this is rarely updated, to be honest with you, but it kind of brings you to their YouTube channel. Uh, this is interesting. So this gives you an explanation of the different levels. So like I mentioned, usually when you get tissue culture, or excuse me, not tissue culture, but any plants from Tropica, they come with like those little icons, color coded icons. So you've got easy, you've got medium, and you've got advanced. And this kind of gives you a brief description of what that means, right? What does easy entail? What does medium entail? What does advanced entail? Right? So like, like we can go over it. So for the easy, it says these plants can thrive and grow well in low light aquariums, 10 to 20 lumens per liter. CO2 supply is recommended because the plants can always benefit from it, but not required. Expect to spend less than 30 minutes per week on maintenance thanks to the slow growing plants. Bottom substrate and weekly dosage of liquid fertilizers are recommended. And then medium kind of talks similar to that. And then advanced as well. If you're watching the replay, you're more than welcome to pause the video and read if you'd like. Um, and then this gives you kind of a history of Tropica. What is Tropica? And then they've got a cool introduction video that you can watch. Um, it was founded by Holger Windelov in 1970. Um, Windelov is a very, very interesting person in the world of aquatic aquarium plants. He has discovered a lot of the plants that we use in the hobby. As a matter of fact, Java fern Windelov, which is a cultivar of Java fern, um, was was named after Windelov. There is a crypt, which is a cultivar, that was named after Tropica. And so, but yeah, in the 1970, and then in 2004, it was sold to JPS Clemens. And then in 2007, it established a new nursery, yada yada yada. And then I believe around the early 2000 teens, Tropica North America came to be, and that was roughly around the time. I think roughly around 2017, 2018 is when they came to North America and had their base in Canada. And then so North America distributes to Canada and the US market. And that's about it. That's your Tropica app. A cool tool to have, guys. I really recommend you guys download it, check it out. The links to download it um is down below. Um it's available for Android and iOS. But yeah, and like I said, oh by the way, I forgot to mention. So the aquascaping recipe, as what I like to call it, that I kind of used as an example. Where'd it go? There we go. So this aquascape, I'm actually planning on doing this aquascape. I'm going to change it a little bit in terms of the substrate and whatnot, but for the most part, all the plants that are in this aquascape, except for the Cryptocoria albida brown, that's not available to US. All the other plants, like I can get in. And so my goal is to create this aquascape for my my scarlet endlers. So let me stop sharing for a second. So this tank right here, this has my scarlet endlers in it. So I'm going to be taking this down, putting another 10-gallon here, hopefully, if this holds, and then I'm going to be doing that aquascape um, for it. So it'll be cool to see if I can kind of recreate that aquascape. I might not be able to use the same exact stone because I think the rock that he this person uses, um, I've never heard of. What is it called? Unzen stone, Unzan stone. Um, I wonder if it's referred to something else. Let me see here. Because the stone looks familiar from what I see in the picture, but huh, interesting. Let me share my screen. Is Windelov deserving of those names, or is he like Axelrod? Well, I've heard of no scandals from Windelov. He's done a lot of contributions to the Planet Aquarium world. So and he brought us Tropica. So hang on, let me share this screen so we can take a look at what this is. So this is Unzenstone. Oh, hold on, you guys can. Oh, there. Yeah, you guys can see me now. So let me. That's Unzenstone. So it's almost like lava rock, like black lava rock. Like it has different types of coloration. So it's like a dark blackish grayish to about brown even. Like that. This even looks like live rock you would get for a saltwater tank even. Um, which is interesting. I don't know if we get this in the US. I've never heard of it. Um, let me see here. Shady says, "Fancy app. Thanks for sharing it with us, Professor. You're very welcome. Glad you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys will download and check it out for yourselves." Got Jorge here, Mexicali Fish Keeper. Welcome. Thank you very much for stopping by. Sorry if you guys have been starting to come in and I haven't said hello. I do apologize, but welcome. We've got Dee Dee. Hey, how you doing? So she picked up a lion's head Java fern. It's pretty cool. Interesting. Excuse me. What is the scientific name? So Dee Dee, that's Windelov. So that's Java fern Windelov is what came up as lion's head Java fern. So I guess it's another common name for that. Uh okay, so Mark Googled Unzenstone and it is man-made. Okay, I got you. I mean, to be honest, better man-made than trying to dig it up from the ground and potentially, not always, but potentially ruin environments. That's why a lot of your like Carib Sea rock that you would get for saltwater is man-made, is because usually you would get a lot of the rock coming from that would be dredged from the oceans. And there's a lot of reasons why people don't want to do that or don't want to get that stuff is because one, you can get hitchhikers and two, you're dredging. So you know, protect the oceans, protect the ecosystems as much as we can. Um, so apparently Grant and Shelby did escape with those stones. That's cool. Mhm. Coral, it's Windelov, Java Fern, Winnebago. That's a car, right? Yeah. Um, excuse me. So Didi says it looks different than my other Windelov. So I know there's regular Java Fern, there's Java Fern Windelov, there's Java Fern Needleleaf, and that's all I know. I don't think there are other Java Ferns? I thought those were like the mains that are in the hobby. Um Yeah, so Viper said, excuse me, not Viper. Yeah, Bunny Viper says, Mark, I personally would be concerned about it tearing up the fins on my specific fish. I'm trying to choose a nice stone for the 180 gallon to build cave-like structures. So, Bunny, it's interesting you mentioned that. So, there's a YouTuber. His name is Fish Shop Matt. So, if you guys are familiar with MD Fish Tanks, they worked together, and collaborate a lot. In a recent video, his video on he was making like a biotope, like a blackwater biotope type scape. He had rock that was like pretty jagged, like pretty like you could cut yourself with it. And then what he did was he actually grinded it. He took like a crowbar or like a heavy metal something, and he just kind of rubbed it on the stone, and it kind of sanded it down. And so a lot of those sharp, jagged edges kind of got sanded down, and it was a little more safer in a way to use. So that's maybe something you can look into. Um, but yeah, there are definitely stones and rocks out there that are less jagged and more smoother, basically. You just want to be careful if you're going to use them to make caves. You want to make sure that they're secure and they're not going to topple each other. And chat just jumped, so I don't know where. Oh, there we go. By the way, if you guys are just coming in, I mentioned in the earlier versions, but I finally cleared this out, and this is going to be temporary for tissue cultures. So there's a light on it, um, and I can actually keep like 4 trays in here, and I think on each tray I can get 3, 6, 9, 12 pots. So in total, this is where my math is coming to play. So in total, I've got 12 times 4. Okay, y'all do the math. um, that's how many tissue culture plants I can keep in here, which is cool. Yeah. Whoop. Sorry. Um, but yeah, that's the app. So I'm now open to questions of stuff. If you have questions about anything that I sell on Atlantic Aquariums or in general, or my thoughts or whatever, if you think my thoughts are worth asking for, feel free to mention it in the comments. But I notice a lot of people are talking amongst themselves, and that is perfectly okay. Um, I just love Dee Dee's nickname for whippersnapper. That's fun. Oh, chat just jumped. So annoying. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. I'm seeing a lot of cool questions I want to get to, but like chat is jumping around and I'm losing my place here. Oh, here we go. Okay. That would be a cool thing to do. Um, you can even use yeah, actually no, if you're using rock, then you definitely want something that is sturdy as a frame to then use uh to then attach them together, and you can use like the aragonite cement. There's also putty that you can use that a lot of people in the saltwater world use um to attach the rock together. There's definitely stuff out there for that is fish safe, obviously, that you can use. um yeah, no problem, bunny. Like I said, his name is Fish Shop Matt. That's his channel on YouTube, and it's one of the more recent um videos. As a matter of fact, if if Zen, if you're still here, if you can look up that link and just post it, you're welcome to do so. But yeah, Bunny, that video might help you to kind of give you an idea of how you can, if you do end up with rock that has jagged edges, you can kind of basically you're sanding it down with like a metal object. Um, or you can use sandpaper, maybe. I don't know. Thank you, Whip. Enjoy. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button because that, whether regardless if it does anything for the channel or not, it gives me an idea of if whether or not you guys like the content. Um, like the content, don't hit the like button. Um, so Shady says, don't tissue cultures need to be refrigerated, Professor? Yes, for the longevity of them, it is ideally recommended to refrigerate them. Um, Tropica recommends in the low 60s, like 64-ish, low 60s is what they recommend keeping the tissue cultures in. My basement is usually around that anyway. Like right now, what's the temperature? The basement is about 66 degrees. So I do well with them, but would I like to have a refrigeration unit for the tissue culture plants? Absolutely. Um, it's just that I don't have the space or the money for it. But hopefully one day when I have my own store, I will absolutely have a refrigeration unit because that allows me to keep more plants for longer. The only issue I have is like there are refrigeration units out there for tissue culture plants. The problem is the way they're lighted. They're lighted by the door like any other refrigeration unit is, and not from the top, if that makes sense. So the plants aren't really getting as much light, but because of the cooler temperatures, they're kind of dormant, if that makes sense. So they're not really growing as much. But they're alive longer, if that makes sense. That's the concept behind it. And basically the goal is by the time even by the time the plants even give up with that, the plants sell, so we can then get more plants in. But usually, the concept is with refrigeration, it helps keep with the longevity of them. I don't know what I was talking about. I hope you got the concept of what I was saying. Um, Yeah. So the TDS meter I do not have on hand right now. Um, I can show you the 3-in-1 diffuser. Um, I have to pull it out of it. I can't take it out of its packaging because it's a different type of packaging. It's not in a box. But give me 1 second. Let me pull it out. Stand by. But because Steven has ordered it, I will be getting it in, and it should come in by next week anyway. Um, um, but yeah, so like Shady, if you're interested in one of the TDS meters, um, let me know and I can order it in. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be ordering for Steven. Um, but yeah, stand by. I have to figure out what box it's in. Ah, don't fall. Got it there. Put you back. By the way, if anybody is interested in the Oase hang-on back filters, I've got the non-thermal version. Oh, that's heavy. There we are. Found it. Okay. Hi. All right. So Shady. So this is the diffuser, Tropica 3-in-1 diffuser. So like I said, I know Steven uses it so he can talk about it. It works best for him. I've used it. Um, so basically, you have um, two suction cups, and then you have the body itself. And I know it's very hard to see, but you've got the diffuser here. It's a screw-in diffuser, so you just unscrew it. You can take the disc out. Um, Replacement discs are available for this. I'm out of stock because Steven took the last one. So hopefully, when I do my next Tropica dry goods order, I'll get more of it in. Um, but it's a 3-in-1. So basically, it has the check valve, it has the bubble counter, and then it has the actual diffuser in there. Um, and yeah, so it's a really cool diffuser. I have 3 of these in stock. Um, yeah, I can't even take it. I can't even slide the plastic thing out because it's staple on it. But I hope that helps. Uh, I also have the crystal skim, the Oase crystal skim as well. nobody has taken home yet. And then I don't know. I think a few people were interested in the CO2 system, so might as well show that off. Um, I wasn't planning on doing it, but yeah. So this is the CO2 system bio. So it comes with. So this is what it would look like right here. So it comes with the bottle. It comes with the cap with the little nozzle to hook up the tubing to. I think it comes with tubing as well. Let me actually see. Yep, it comes with tubing. So you can kind of see in there. It comes with instructions, and it also comes with the suction cups and the diffuser itself. You can also get this type of diffuser separately as well through by Tropica, but I didn't really bother getting it in yet. Um, and what's interesting about this CO2 diffuser, which I recently discovered, I might be wrong, I have to look into it, but I think it actually has a bubble counter inside of it as well, which doesn't make sense to me. I'll have to look into it more, but from what I'm looking at the picture, it looks like there's a chamber that you put water in and it bubbles out. But my question is like you can't really regulate how much CO2 is going in, so what's the point? But like it's designed to be for beginners who are getting into it. So it even says on the bottom, recommended for easy to medium category plants, about 60 days worth of CO2, and it's good for up to 60 liters. So it even has what size aquarium it's good up to. So it's good up to 60 liters, which I do not know how many that is in gallons. But I know that FishFam Link has a thingy that you can put in the command, and it might tell you the conversions. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Uh, okay, Zen posted the video. I'm assuming to that the link to that video. Thank you. Oh, that's a good point or a good advice. So Shady Gray says, Professor, you can even use another stone to rub off the sharp edges. Cool. All good. But yeah, basically you're just sanding it down, really. Obviously you don't want to sand it out too much that you lose kind of the texture of it, but at least it's not going to be as sharp and thus damage fins and all that stuff. You'd think that if they were going to be selling that as aquarium stone, that they would do that already and make sure that it's not um sharp, but no. No, I think it's fun to as part of you building the hardscape of your tank that you have to get your hands dirty and scrub the stone, make sure it's nice and safe. But yeah, whoops, sorry. Oops, somebody just said a word that I don't want in the chat, but that's okay. I'll put it in the banned comments, the banned words thing on YouTube Studio. It's okay. Not the end of the world. Oh, there's a few words that people are saying that I don't want in chat. Trigger words. So Jeff says, "Get after it, Osama. Build your own from a house refrigerator." You can. There are Jeff. You know what's funny? There are local fish stores who, instead of getting like the window door refrigerators that you can see through, they just get a regular like a regular house home old white, you know, plasticky refrigerator that you would open, and then there's all the plants in there. Um, but the issue with stuff like that is, again, light. You want to make sure the plants have some form of light because they need to photosynthesize. Um, but yeah. Yeah, so Shady Grady has like one of those coolers, I guess the like the small coolers, and that have a display light on them. That's cool. Um yeah, it would be cool, like Shady, if you're using them for like your worm cultures, if you buy tissue culture plants but you can't really use them yet, you can definitely pop them in there just to prolong it a little bit, but you have to remember you have to keep them to the right temperature, because the temperature you have the worm cultures in might be different than what would be recommended for the plants. Yep, shady. It's really cool that you can shade it, because like what Steven does, right? He has multiple discs, and so he uses one, and then the others are being soaked in peroxide always. And then so when the current one he's using gets gunked up, he'll take that out, replace it with another one, and then put that in to get rinsed and cleaned in peroxide or whatever you decide to use to clean it. So it's really cool. Uh See ya, Whip. Enjoy. I'm not really a football fan, so I don't really care much for Super Bowl stuff, but like the food. Of course, happy to help. Fish family convert 60 liters or whatever the command is. Myrtle says, Fish family, do what I say. All right, so Linky says, Zen Ginger, 60 liters is equal to 15.85 gallons. So that's about how much they recommend you use the CO2 diffuser thingy. Um, and I am caught up with chat. Cool. So Matt says, Osama, it may be a good idea to say, Matt, at 3:30 p.m. you said a word I prefer not to have in the chat. That way people can do better about what not to say. Those who don't like it can leave. Yeah, yeah, Matt's always telling me, like, as a guy, hey, you don't like something, tell him. So but anyway, I mean, hopefully moderators are keeping up with stuff like that. So like I've mentioned before, and I get it. To some of you, it might be like, that's no big deal. That's common language. Well, not for me. Okay. Like, even like, for example, like, at this point, y'all probably know my views on profanity, right? If you were talking to me in person and you started using profanity in the conversation, just like people would casually, like, right, um I would get very uncomfortable, and I would actually try to excuse myself from that conversation. Just letting you guys know now. I understand, like, to people it's second nature to use profanity and to use the F word and to use the A word and all that stuff. Um, I just don't like it. I don't like that type of speech. Um, I'm also not a huge fan of smoking and drinking of any kind. There's a religious aspect to it. There's a personal experience aspect to it, a wellness aspect to it. And so, talking about being drunk or being high or things like that, I don't mention it in the chats or anything like that. Don't mention, I'm gonna go grab a beer or anything like that. This is a family friendly channel. I want people of all ages coming up on here, and it is an educational channel. Okay. So I expect everybody here to be of an educational mind. All right. We're not in a fraternity here. We're not frat people or sorority people here. Okay. Um, but and I noticed people mention that, oh well, in that case, you probably won't enjoy being around me in person. Um, if you're anybody that thinks that way, um, I apologize. I hope we get to meet in person, and I hope that people will respect my opinions on stuff like that, to the point where, for at least when you're hanging out with me or talking to me or things like that, you might not you might not go there, if that makes sense. And I hate talking about this stuff because I've had experiences in college where people would just not invite me to hang out or anything like that because they're going to hang out and smoke weed, or they're going to hang out and drink. And they're like, well, we don't invite you because you don't like that stuff. Okay, that's fine. Well, then why for but then how about this? If you really care, if you really want me to hang out with you guys for one day, can you not do that stuff? Or do you have to do it every time? Can you not live without that stuff? And I'm going off of topic, off a tangent here, and I apologize, guys. Um, um, and like, do you anytime during the time is just that, like, and when it comes to like smoking and things like that, I'm very sensitive to the smell. So like it's I get sick from it. So that, like I said, there's a physical, mental, spiritual standpoint to all of this. Um, I hope it doesn't affect your ability to come and meet me in person. I want to meet all of you guys and all that stuff. Um, that's just how I'm, and I'm just warning you guys in advance, because I know people like Matt have been really telling me to be open about it and honest about it. And if you guys don't like that stuff, if you guys don't want to be around people who have that type of viewpoint, and you don't want to you don't want to interact with me and things like that, I absolutely get it. It's not the first time. um but yeah, just keep it out of the chat. I know there are other live streams where that stuff along the lines of that is talked about continuously. And um and um and that's totally fine. There have been live streams where things have gone a little too rated PG-13 and rated R, where unfortunately I've had to excuse myself and leave. I still do my best to come and like the live stream and kind of give a chat, say my good evenings and all that stuff. Um, but if I notice the live stream is starting to get a little uncomfortable for me, I will politely leave. Um, no offense to anybody, and by no means should anybody, mind my feelings and kind of accommodate according to that. I'm not asking anybody to change how they do their videos or their live streams or anything like that. It's just not my cup of tea. So if things get a little uncomfortable for me, I tend to excuse myself. Um, um, but yeah, okay, that's enough of that. Let's talk about fish stuff. That's what we're here for. So Shady says, Professor, when you get more discs in, I will buy a couple diffusers and a TDS meter. We'll keep that in mind. It's gonna be a while. Tropica is weird. I love Tropica. Believe me, I love them, but they're just weird because there's a minimum requirement for the plants, and then there's a minimum requirement for dry goods, and they're not shipped together, if that makes sense, because there's a whole customs thing. I get it. Um, so like I can meet the minimum purchase requirement for plants, for example, right? So I'm good with the plants. But then I'm like, well, I need to stock up on the CO2 diffuser. So let me add in add in 1 pack of the CO2 diffusers. For one pack, there's three units in one thing, if that makes sense. Um, that's not how that works. For dry goods, there's a separate minimum purchase requirement that I have to do in order for me to get in dry goods. So I can't just place an order for plants and then add the discs onto it. I have to buy like soil. I have to buy art prints. I have to buy aquascaping tools, things that are dry goods, not live plants that meet the minimum requirement, and then I can get that stuff in. So right now, I am good with Tropica dry goods. I have a bunch of tools. I have their Tropica CO2 stuff. I have the diffusers. I have soil. I have soil. Um, so I'm in no, like I have a lot of liquid CO2, not liquid CO2, liquid fertilizers in stock in terms of quantity. So I'm not ordering Tropica dry goods for a while. That being said, if I start to sell out on a bunch of the Tropica dry goods stuff, I will most definitely order more stuff in, and then I can get the discs in. So duly noted, Shady. I will keep it in mind. It's just going to take a little bit of time, so I appreciate the patience, but we went over it on the webs on the Tropica app. There are obviously other dealers that carry Tropica, so if you want to check out that and see if anybody else has it in, um, you're more than welcome to do so. Oh, we've got fishing things with Landau. Welcome, my friend Xanadu. Welcome. Yeah, I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you. I'm very self-conscious about opening up. Um because I've had experience where I would open up about my views and things like that, and it just ends up with me not having a social life. So um I try to be a fun person to hang around with, but it's whatever. Aw, thanks, Dee Dee. You are a very sweet person as well. Just people talking about what I was mentioning. And yeah, it's like, if I'm on somebody else's live stream and they talk about the stuff and whatever, it's not the end of the world. Like, but anyway. Um, so yeah. If anybody else has any questions, we got 16 people here. That's cool. Thank you for still staying around even after that whole spiel. Um, yeah, it's fine. I get it. No hard feelings, um, but yeah. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna talk about it. But yeah. Uh, was there anything else I wanted to talk about? It's funny because I always come on live streams with like a with a plan, and I'll do the live stream, and then after the live stream, I always watch the replay, and then I during the right replay, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to talk about about one thing and all that stuff. And then I'm like, well, I'll talk about it in a different on the next live stream. But then I'm like, but then it doesn't make any sense. Like for example, when I had the what was it? Was it the scientific name live stream or something that was close to February 1st? So February 1st was my birthday, right? And I think I was doing a live stream that week or something. And I was like, I'll just mention that it, as an update of my week or whatever that it was my birthday. And I think I forgot to mention it. And then I was thinking, I was like, well, I'll mention it today, but then I'm like, it's the 8th or it's the 11th. It doesn't matter anymore. And but it's not just that, it's just like I never I need to write stuff down. Sorry, I just saw some leaves that are like old leaves on the alternanthera pink that I just need to pluck off. Sorry, got distracted. um but yeah, like I said, I'm welcome to stay for however long you guys want me to stay. If you have any other questions, I appreciate the questions I've gotten so far. I hope it was productive. um Matt says sorry I mentioned it. It's all good, but it's all good. But yeah, this is going to be the last time we're going to talk about it. Um, you guys can do with that information as you would like. Um, like when I was younger, it was very easy to for me to get upset or offended or things like that. Now, but being somebody who's gone through depression and whatnot, like I've trained myself and learned myself to you know to be careful with opening myself up to an extent, and that you know where am I going with this? um to be okay, to be okay, like it takes a lot for me to be to get upset now, is what I'm trying to say. um like if people mention stuff that I'm not comfortable with in the comments, worst case scenario is I'm going to skip it completely, right? um like I'm not going to be policing it, I'm not going to be constantly mentioning it or anything like that. I've mentioned it now once. I've completely opened up. Um, I know people are going to leave and unsubscribe and all that for that reasons or not meet me in person, and that's totally fine. Um, but yeah, anyway. Um, Oh, hang on, I see something here. Osama, I didn't get my entire last order in tanks soon enough, so now this explains things. My fin din is 76 degrees. My bad. We'll be reordering. I never even thought about. Oh, Didi, are you referring to like what happened with the crypt crispatulas? Because yeah, ideally what I would expect is like when you buy plants from me, when you get the shipment in, when you get your order in, they're going into their tanks as soon as possible. If you are going to keep them in their bag or their cup or whatever for a longer amount of time, like for example in your case the tissue culture plants, you would definitely want to put them in the refrigerator or someplace where it's low 60s at least. And you should be doing okay. um and this just goes for me, for if you're buying plants from me, but if you're buying plants from anywhere and you get the plants in and they're not doing too well, you definitely want to get them in the water or in the tanks or whatever, so that way you don't um you have the best chance of survival for them, if that makes sense. So I get it now. If if that's what you're referring to and that's what happened, that's definitely what may have happened. Because I know a lot of people like to heat the room, like their fish room, and it can get hot in there. So you definitely do not want to keep your tissue culture plants in their cups in that temperature for too long. You want to get them in water, um, and all that stuff. Oh, I appreciate that, Matt. There's nothing wrong. Like, I don't want you guys to think, and I'm keep going back to it. I don't want you guys to think that we're not gonna have fun on these streams. We're definitely gonna have fun on these streams. Matt, I enjoy when you goof around sometimes. It's just the words. It's just words. Certain words I just don't like. Um, there's no long, I like to have a laugh, like if you guys have watched the D&D streams with Xanadu and Ed and Scotty and Killer Kitty and myself and whatnot, like, you know that's the most fun I've had with socializing, doing something that is not fish related, um and just having fun, um and like when somebody made a comment of how Scotty fights like a stormtrooper. I lost it. I completely lost it. That's the most I've laughed on camera ever or on live stream ever. And I had to bring it up because it made me crack up. And I was like, this is funny. And then the fact that Scotty doesn't even know that reference is just funny. Sorry, Scotty, but had to mention it. Um uh, Am I behind chat? Oh, Lord have mercy. I see people saying happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. Birthday's gone anyway, but Steven says I recommend McStreamy for full desensitization. Yeah, like I participate in the McStreamy. I enjoy it. Um but yeah. By the way, Steven, when I was talking about joining your wet your plants streams to take Myrtle's spot. I was just joking just to see what Myrtle says about it. Like, you don't have to have me on there. I know it's your guys' stream. Um I just like to mess with Myrtle because he's never on on it. Um Sorry, I'm trying to see if like there's people asking any questions or anything like that. Uh, Hang on, somebody said something about Scotty. Matt says Scott doesn't know many references we are teaching him, but it's hard to make up for 40 years. Yeah, Matt, I'm telling you, like, we need to get the fish fam. We need to join together and just do, I don't know, through Zoom or whatever or Discord or whatever, but just have like a Star Wars marathon and have Scotty watch it. Just so he gets the references. Because I remember during that D&D stream, like when we like people discover that Scotty does not know. I think I knew before that Scotty doesn't know Star Wars, and then like we just started listing movies that for the most part everybody should know, and we were listing them out to see if he knew, and then like being relieved when he knew a movie and being and gasping when he didn't know a movie, and where we're just like, all right, that's it. We need to sit you down and have you watch these movies because it is unacceptable that you have not watched these movies. Um, because I'm a Star Wars fan. I enjoy. I'm a but the original Star Wars, not the new mumbo jumbo that the company that should not be named is coming out with. Screwing my man Skywalker. But yeah, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I'm a fan of, believe it or not, I'm a fan of both Star Wars and Star Trek. I don't take either side. I take both sides. Um, I'm a huge fan of the Next Generation, and then I watch anime. I read mangas and all that stuff. So I geek out. I'm a band geek. I'm a music nerd. So, but yeah, I like voice acting and all that stuff. Um, Myrtle, then get your butt on the stream. Either come to the stream or tell Steven to take your name off of the thumbnail, or have somebody fill in for you. But the last thing I want is to be catfished by Kelly when we were promised Myrtle. Okay. Myrtle says, bring out the jello. I can't eat jello. Actually, no, I can eat jello. They make halal jello. But the brand jello I can't eat because it has gelatin. Steven says we gotta keep Myrtle scared. I don't know, Steven. Maybe if you do end up having me on a Wet Your Plants, it might scare Myrtle because he'll probably be like, "Oh shoot, he's actually serious." Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Myrtle and Kelly know way more about plants than I do. To be fair. Dee says I hadn't intended for my stuff to sit out, but when she called and was frantic, I just left. She lives in another country. Okay, Dee, it happens, and it was upsetting when I heard about it. But yeah, let me know if there's anything I can help. If you want to, you know, if you're gonna order more plants, I might be able to just give you some. Because you do a lot, you do support me a lot, and I want you to succeed with the stuff you get from me. That's why I was very upset when you told me what happened with the tissue cultures, but it happens. Life happens. KG Aquatics, welcome. Oh, chat's jumping. And it says Scotty is unacceptable. I read that, and all the picture was that lemon from, what was it, that cartoon. It goes unacceptable. But yeah, I literally read it in that voice. That's funny. Myrtle, we'll see. I'm not gonna take your word for it until I see you on that screen. Yay! Matt's on my side. Myrtle has one semester's worth of excuses remaining. Yeah, Myrtle, there is halal jello. It's not the Jello brand, but like you can get it at like Indian stores and things like that. Definitely. Just the Jello brand is not, they don't make halal stuff, at least to my knowledge. I might be wrong. Nah, man, that stuff is now part of Fish Fam Link. Especially if you donated the music to it, that's Matt's stuff now. You should have written a use clause or like a contract. You should have had Matt sign a contract. for the use of your music. You should know how that stuff goes. Chat needs like StreamYard needs to calm down with the chat. It's like jumping all over the place. We have guests all the time, though panel of 4 is about the max I can handle except for things with the newlywed games. It's totally fine. I'm just joking around. So Koro says, how do I identify whether the critters in my grindleworm culture that are clearly not grindles, like how do I identify, wait, this is where my ESL classes come into play. How do I identify whether the critters in my grindleworm cultures that are clearly not grindles, how do I know if they're harmful or not? Should I start a new one and try to split this? So if you're seeing stuff that obviously is not grindleworms in your grindleworm culture, um, if it was me, I'd be paranoid about it, and I'm like, "Oh shoot, what is this stuff? Is it going to affect my culture or not?" Most likely, it has been like contaminated. How that stuff would have gotten in there, I don't know. But to be honest, Corey, it would be better if you shared pictures. Like if you're on Fishcord, I don't know, there's a particular section you can post the pictures on. But if you can like post a picture of what you're seeing, it'll give us a better idea of what it is. And I would just see if you can create a new culture if you're able to. That's what I would do. Turtle says I have protections on all of my music. Well, I don't see it on FishFam link. All it says is the song was provided by Myrtle Singh. Doesn't say anything about copyright. In which case, if there is a legitimate copyright on your music, then Matt should have that on the thingy, on underneath. Just saying. Zen says, "Oh, looks like Osama is team Matt too. Myrtle, bummer." I'm team everybody. I love everybody here. You guys have accepted me into the fish fan community. You guys have supported me. So I'm team everybody. Um, I just like consistency, and Myrtle has not been consistent. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So Annette says Myrtle does have a contract for the use of his music. Cool. Well, I only license the music out to Fish Fam Link. Cool. Good to know. Dee Dee song. I was even on what your plans. Stirred from they stirred from the bottom. Oh, come on, Dee Dee. Myrtle says, and I have the right to terminate licenses to all my works. So, Myrtle, I don't know if you know or not, but I also write music. So, if you do that, Matt, I will be more than happy to make music for the um the giveaway. And not only that, I'll do you one even better. I know people who play instruments and record live instruments instead of using the MIDI humbo jumbo that Myrtle might be using. Because I don't like computer generated sounds. I like to record with actual instruments. So yeah, Myrtle, you're more than welcome to take back the music. I'll just donate music to Fish Fam Link because Fish Fam Link has done a lot for me. Hey there, Vinovsky. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. We're just goofing around and talking about husbandry stuff, aquatic husbandry. People are talking about the Grindelwald. Sorry, I'm a bit behind chat here. I do apologize, guys. I do. There. Sometimes I don't know what it is. I do enjoy going the traditional way of going to the movies to watch a movie. Um, there have been times where like I'll just go alone to the movie theaters just to watch a movie. Sometimes if my brother is home from campus, I'll be like, "Hey man, you want to go watch a movie?" And he's kind of particular about watching movies. Like there's certain movies he's like is worth watching in the theaters, and then he's like, "Why bother spending money to the movies when we can just watch it at home?" But I enjoy going to the movies, grabbing a nice, bucket of popcorn and just eating and just watching a movie in the theater. Um, I do agree. And then I don't know, maybe the Fish fam can, make a movie date night and go to a movie theater. Maybe at the Keystone Clash, see if there's a movie theater near where the Keystone Clash is, and just drag drag Scotty to the theater and have him watch a movie he hasn't watched. I do know copyrights are automatic, but I for one like to mention the copyrights. That's just me. I know I'm very familiar with all the copyright stuff and anything like that. I've taken classes on music production, and we go through all that, which was fun. I resell the music under my own label. Lots of wheels out there paying the big bucks for it. So Myrtle says, Usama, speaking of, I sent you an email a few weeks ago about that actual human beings playing music. I didn't get an email from you. What email did you send me that to? Because if you send it to the Professor FishTanks one, I haven't. Did I get any? I don't remember getting an email from you. Um, but yeah, I need to get back into playing because life has happened. When I was in like high school and early college, like I was big into playing music. But unfortunately, life happens, and I haven't really been keeping up with it. Um, but I really want to get back to playing my violin. I used to be really good at playing the violin, and then I just stopped. And I remember one time pulling my violin out just to do some maintenance on it, make sure everything is fine, and tune it because sometimes the tuning will go off. And I was like, let me try playing it a little bit, and I played it, and I'm like, I'm losing it. I recently acquired a trumpet, so I play in terms of wind instruments. I'm a low brass. I play low brass. But I recently acquired a trumpet. One of my uncles to me, somebody left it at a store, and it's a student level trumpet, and I got it fixed and cleaned, repaired and cleaned and everything like that. And I brought it home and I tried it, and it took a while, but I was finally able to play the B flat scale on it. But it was hard because the embouchure for a trumpet is different than a trombone, so I have to do some practice on that. But but yeah, I want to get back to playing instrumental music and writing. I love writing, not necessarily composing, but arranging and orchestrating. So I love conducting. I love orchestrating pieces. So like if somebody made a piano piece and they wanted that to be written for a full orchestra, I love doing that stuff. Um, Professor trying to be the professor of music to Myrtle. Believe it or not, I wanted to go into music. Like initially, I wanted to be a marine biologist. Then I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I wanted to go to school for music, and my parents were like, "Nope, that's not happening." Um, now I'm going to hopefully, you know, give that music itch to my kids, and one of my dreams is at least maybe one of my kids will end up being a classic composer and film score. That's the dream, but you never know. But yeah, all my kids are going to be classically trained musicians, instrumentalists, that's for sure. Um, uh, yeah, yeah, definitely Myrtle. That's totally fine. Just a comment, you know. You obviously you and Matt have your own thing, so um it could be that Myrtle. Just send it to me again, or send it to me through the Professor Fish Tanks email. So it's professor.fishtanks@gmail.com. Shoot me an email on that, and then I'll do my best to reply back to you. Um, I just apologize. I haven't gotten your email. Otherwise, I would have replied to you quick. I'm usually good with replying to emails quickly. I actually get excited when I get emails, but I just haven't gotten it from you. Did I catch up on chat? Oh, cool. Um, so Shady says, "Thank you, Professor, for subscribing to my channel. Did you see any of my planted tanks?" Yeah, Shady, I saw. What video did I see? I think it was a video of you just showing your tanks. I think it started off with the tank that you have in your living room where the TV is right above it. Like I saw that. I wasn't able to watch the entire video. I apologize. Um um but I was able to see that. But but I've also seen like shorts and things like that. And I was impressed. You have pretty cool looking tanks. I'm definitely at some point I'm gonna kind of dig deeper into your channel and kind of take a look at what else you have going on. But yeah, I definitely saw some of your planet tanks. Bunny says Myrtle is the music maestro. Well, Bunny, my other nickname is Maestro too. So Myrtle's got some competition. But then again, I am out of practice. It has been a while, so I gotta get into it. But it's just really hard. I have no time to do anything, and it was like picking your one love in terms of your hobby. What do you want to really focus on? And I chose aquariums. But like I really want to get into back into music, into like instrumental music. I want to, obviously I want to practice more on voice acting, things like that. I just don't have the time. Um, Myrtle says, "You stole my nickname too." I've had that. I probably had that nickname before you were even graduated high school. Okay, calm yourself. Cora says, "Usama, you better back off. Myrtle is my nemesis." uh, hey, Cora, he's all yours. I'm just saying, he's all yours. Go for it, but be nice. Um, excuse me, guys. I need to grab a tissue real quick. So Dee Dee says, a few years ago, Myrtle wrote a piece and donated it to Fish Fam Christmas for a giveaway. Me, Annette, Steven, and Eduardo were willing to mud wrestle for it. He made us all one. Oh my lord. Myrtle says, changes YouTube username to Professor Music Maestro. That would be a good username for my music channel. Definitely. It's funny because it's like one of my dreams is like to have my own orchestra, like symphonic orchestra, and like have a whole name. And one of my dreams is to open up my own like studio that has its own symphonic orchestra and even its own pipe organ room, like a room with an actual pipe organ built into it for recording purposes. And one of my goals is to allow students like kids like who are in high school or middle school who have the level of passion and drive to perform as if you were somebody performing in a professional symphonic orchestra, if that makes sense. And basically to give them mentorship and to nurture that talent even more. um is like a dream of mine to do in terms of the music world. But that's if I have the money for it, which I doubt I ever will. Um, Myrtle says, no, I claim dibs on that name. Absolutely not. I will fight you for it. No, I'm just joking. I don't fight. I just hope that you will respectfully not use that name. Okay. Don't worry, you're still the music, man. Like I said, I am out of practice. Okay, so you most likely have an upper hand at all that than I do. Okay, you're still the music person. It's just that music used to be as much of a passion as fish keeping is when I was younger. It still is, but it's like it's on the back burner for now. Okay, so we're about 2.5 hours in, and I don't really see any questions or any chats regarding fish keeping. So, um, I'll give you guys a chance if you want to. If anybody has any last minute questions about anything, feel free to put it in the chat. Yeah, exactly, Myrtle. It's like compared to like when I was in like, literally in high school. Back then I wasn't really keeping fish, to be honest with you. And so a lot of my dedication was to instrumental music. I was in almost every ensemble. I was in terms of musical theater. I was in the pit ensemble, the pit orchestra. I even took a semester of choir, so I was a what was I? I was a tenor, upper tenor one. Um, and Yeah, I was obsessed. I would listen to like I would look up actual symphonic scores and listen and read the scores as I went along. And this is me really opening up. I would literally in my car or sitting or in my bed or just walking. Sometimes if I'm out for a walk, I'll wear my headphones and listen to classical music and I would air conduct as if I was conducting the orchestra. Like that's how much I was into it, and I still do it. Um, but yeah, it's definitely life has really took that away from me, and I want to get back into it, and but it's probably gonna take a little bit while, or better yet, it's like if there's an excuse for it. So like if somebody was like, "Hey Osama, I want you to bring your violin over. We're gonna record. I want you to help us record something." And then that would push me to get my violin out, practice the violin, so then I can be at least half decent to then record. Um, um, to record and things like that. Like there needs to be like a good reason for me to really push myself to get my violin out. Um, Zen says it's that's it. Myrtle and Osama in a halal Jello wrestling competition against the fish fan. Yeah, Myrtle, I was in everything. I was in string. So my primary instrument is the violin. So the violin was the first instrument I ever had. Um, so I was in string orchestra. I was in so I started violin in third grade. Um, played the violin through fifth grade. I went overseas. Through that time, I also started learning all the other string instruments, so violin, viola, cello, double bass. And then when I was in Pakistan for overseas, I got to learn more of the cultural instruments. So your tabla, your dholak, your dhol, your sitars, harmonium, things like that. I started learning that. Um, the sarangi, which the South Asian version of like of a violin, cello. Um, and then when I came back, I was still into music a lot, and I had the opportunity to join the marching band. And when I joined the marching band, I joined as in the battery section or in the drum line section, and I was in bass drum. So I played second bass drum, and then I played that for 1 year, and then my senior year, because I joined marching band my junior year, and then my senior year, I I asked the band teacher, the band director, if I can learn to play the baritone. And so the marching baritone, not the other baritone, the marching one. And so he was like, absolutely. And the thing with me is you give me an instrument and give me like 3 weeks, I can learn it enough. And so that's what happened. It took me about 3 weeks to be able to play the national anthem, the U.S. national anthem on the baritone. And I remember for the first time coming into marching band practice with my baritone, and for a warm up, I decided to play the national anthem. I started playing that. Every single person in that room stopped talking and just looked at me. And then I stopped playing. And then they all started clapping because they knew that I was a violinist who joined to be in battery. And then all of a sudden, in 3 weeks, I'm playing a freaking low brass instrument. And so I learned baritone, and because I was comfortable with baritone, I was able to transition to trombone. So I joined marching band, and then because of that, I was able to join concert band. So I played trombone in concert band, and I had the F attachment trombone, yeah, which I love that instrument, and I want to get that instrument for myself. And because I was able to play the trombone in concert band, I also joined jazz band. So I played trombone for jazz, and then I played violin for pit orchestra. I joined the percussion ensemble. I played mallet percussion. So the because I was able to read music, my teacher was like, "I'm gonna have you on mallet percussion because you can read sheet music." Even though I wanted to play timpani, um, so I played xylophone, and then just for funs and giggles, I decided for my last semester, one of my semesters, to join the choir. And so I was hoping to be in baritone, but apparently my voice is not low enough, so I was tenor one. So I even went into choir. So yeah, I was in everything. And on top of that, it's interesting is like when my orchestra teacher, when she would be absent, obviously we would have a substitute, but she would have one of the students conduct. And before it was somebody else, but then she allowed me to conduct. So whenever she would be absent, she would write in the notes for the substitute that this student will be leading the orchestra. And so I would get all the scores and open up, and then we would just do a run through of it, and I would get really into it. But but yeah. Um, Sorry, started talking about more of the music stuff. If you had to go down to one, but you could upgrade in the process, what would you do? What size and what would you put in it? Only one aquarium, terrarium, etc. Like, are you referring to like one of the tanks I have right now, or like a dream tank? Because if you're talking about a dream tank, I would love like a large 100 tank that is a coral reef, like a gorgeous coral reef, slice of the Great Barrier Reef in my home, a large tank. Um, like that. That's the ultimate dream. As a marine biologist, like who specializes in coral biology and things like that. Like that's the ultimate dream. Will that ever happen? Nope. Um, but like but like definitely that, and having like a slice of the Amazon rainforest. So like a paludarium, a semi-aquatic paludarium that's based off of like the Amazon rainforest. So terrestrial and aquatic plants that are native to that area, and then obviously in the aquatic section, fish and inverts that are native to that area is also another. I love exhibit quality setups. Like if you were to go to like a public aquarium and things like that, like if I had the money, and I would literally convert a fish room to have like exhibit quality, like aquariums that are in the wall, and you can go, there's a back room and you go in there and it's like filtration systems you would only see in for like public aquariums and things like that. Um, and then not even that, but like have like information around the aquarium, like an exhibit, right? Like that's something I want to do for my home, is to just have exhibit quality aquariums. Like, that's what I love. um you know and because that's the thing, is like when I have when we move to our own place and I have the room and the budget and everything like that, in the main house, I'm just going to have two main displays: a beautiful coral reef aquarium and a freshwater planted tank. And then that's going to be my main display, that when the family and friends come to visit, they get to see that, they get to talk about that. If they want to come down to see the fish room, the aquarium lab is what I will call it, they're more than welcome to do that. um but like that's going to be, I'm going to have two main displays, and then everything else is going to be downstairs in the basement or in my fish room. That's going to have both freshwater and saltwater stuff, but it's not going to be to the quality that the two main displays will be. I hope that answered your question. I asked about using CO2 and O2 alternating instead of doing a sump with reverse photoperiod to combat pH and algae. And everyone acted like I was silly. It's just money. So I think I know what you're talking about. Um, so like usually what would happen is with CO2, you're with C okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to explain what you're saying so that the people that aren't familiar with what you're talking about can understand it. So CO2, we know when you add, oh my God, when you inject CO2 in the saltwater sense, you are affecting the carbonate hardness in the water, which is affecting pH. People inject CO2 to help with pH control, alkalinity, all that stuff. Okay. Um, and using O2 alternating instead of doing a sump with reverse photo period. Coro, if I understand correctly, reverse photo period, I believe you're referring to like with a refugium, because if you're talking about reverse photo period, the lights are on in the main display, and then the macroalgae in the refugium in the sump don't have any light, and then when the top lights turn off, the bottom lights turn on, and then it's basically the algae is sucking up all that nutrients and whatnot for the algae. Um, to combat pH and algae. And he's basically saying everybody acted like I was silly. It's just money. Um, it's definitely something that you can do. It's something that is not widely used. The usage of CO2 in saltwater is, from my understanding, is more of a recent concept than classic saltwater husbandry. From what I have understand, I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. Koro might know more than I do, to be honest with you. Um, but it's like with CO2, it gets into that expert level, in my opinion, um, of fish keeping. Um, but is it something that I would tend to do? No. If I'm having algae control, I would have a refugium. Or just keep up with nutrient control, do water changes, um, use chemical filtration. In terms of pH control, you can use crushed coral, things like that, to um, to um, to help with pH. That's what I've done. Um, things like that. But it's just a matter of like how much experimental do you want to be. And with stuff like that, Coro, like you're always gonna get people who are gonna think you're crazy. Um, I have seen people do it, use it, things like that. Um, my thing would be like if you're interested in that stuff, is get in touch with people who have used it and get advice from them. And things like that. But it just goes back to the concept of like there are 1,001 ways of doing something in this hobby, right? And it's just up to what you are comfortable with doing. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the well-being of the animals you're keeping, right? Um, you know, experiment, but keep in mind the well-being of the animals. That's our end goal, is to make sure that that our fish, our inverts, our plants, the microfauna and flora, they're all happy. Right. Really? Myrtle? Really? Mods, can we ban that this account, please? Thank you. I appreciate it. Get that out of here. Sounds like the sitar is the only one of those instruments I've heard of. There's a whole family. If this was a music channel, I would show you one of the drums that I have, but this is not a music channel, so we'll leave it to that. Um, And then I have played the hurdy-gurdy as well. Hurdy-gurdy. Not familiar with the other one, the Shalmai. Not familiar with that. To be honest with you, if you showed me a picture of it, I'd probably recognize it than the name. Myrtle says, Osama, we have a common enemy now. What common enemy? Really? You're gonna blame Matt for that? Even though you're the one that came up with that name? I beg to differ. That's Matt. it used to be this used to be Scotty the fish freak hacker extraordinaire. Oh, I lost chat. What happened? Did chat jump? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was upset. I was like, I want to do timpani. And he's like, no, because when I referred to like the percussion ensemble, it was a class. It was like an introductory class. So a lot of the people there were learning percussion for the first time, believe it or not. And so when I joined the class, he was, well, you already know how to read music. You're familiar with mallet percussion. I'm putting you on xylophone, even though I wanted to do timpani, and he didn't give me timpani, so I hate him for that. But it's whatever. I can sing, but I'm not a good singer. I'm definitely not a good singer. Voice acting is the extent of what I can kind of do. I practice classical Disney songs like villain songs, but like only when I'm by myself. Um Sorry, I'm way behind I think on thing. Why am I still seeing Professor Maestro Fish and Plant Expert Extraordinaire? Get that out of my chat. How dare you? It's a primitive oboe-like instrument. Oh, okay. I've been watching videos of, oh my god, what's his name? He was a British musician. He was really into like old musical instruments. Like he introduced the racket um and things like that, and like the oh my god, what's that called? It's like a curved instrument. Unfortunately, he his life was cut short because he passed away at a young age. But I can't remember what his name. Myrtle, you might know who I'm talking about. But I've seen videos of him a lot, and um, but yeah, I'm really into like old, like not ancient, but like instruments that were used before the instruments that we use today were, if that makes sense. um, I do miss Scotty. Scotty hasn't been coming to my live streams. I hope he's okay. Um, anyway, I think I've caught up on chat. All right, so um, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I hope you learned something. Um, Again, I apologize for the little whole disclaimer stuff and all that stuff. It's gonna be the last time I'm gonna talk about it. After that, if stuff happens, I'm just gonna ignore it. Um, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found the Tropica app interesting. Like I said, the links to download the app, or the links to the app are in the description below. I strongly encourage you guys to download it, check it out. If you want to delete it later on, you can delete it. But there's some really cool stuff in there. If you guys came later on and didn't really get to see the full app, I strongly recommend just going back in the replay and checking it out. And yeah, so um I do have a few other announcements to mention. Um they haven't really made any recent announcement about it, but the club that I started, Stockton University Aquarium and Aquaculture Club, in March 24th. I would have to double check, but March 24th, which I believe is a Sunday, right? I think. They're hosting their second annual Fishapalooza event. It's like the Keystone Clash, but not the Keystone Clash. It's smaller. Um, don't really have any speakers or anything fancy like that. Even though I was hoping they would. It's just like a vending thing. It's like a swap. Think of it that way. It's free admission. You don't have to pay anything to get in. Vendors don't have to pay anything to vend. And so if you're in the South Jersey area, it's like 20 minutes away from Atlantic City, the university. If you guys are interested, if you want to vend, you're more welcome to reach out to them. I think they have a thing on fishfam.link. Um, or if you just want to visit, you're more than welcome to visit. And it's just a cool event to be a part of. Most likely Atlantic Aquariums is going to be there as well. Um, yeah. And then also for if any of you know any saltwater people, tell them about the Keystone Clash. Tell them if you think they grow corals or anything like that, tell them to get a vendor spot at the Clash. Let them know that there's going to be a saltwater speaker there. I want saltwater representation at the Clash. That's why you guys probably notice every time when we're on Scotty's stream, sometimes I'll ask him. I was like, "Hey, how's any updates on saltwater or things like that?" But yeah, I think that's the only other thing I wanted to mention. Um, Thank you, Zen, for sharing the links. I appreciate that. Uh, and yeah, so thank you everybody for stopping by. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Um, hope you enjoyed the live stream. Um, you know, hopefully I'll catch you guys in another live stream. Stay tuned for some videos coming out. I just need to dedicate some time to finish them up. But they are coming soon. So it's not just going to be old live streams on this channel. It's going to be some pre-recorded videos, informative videos as well. Um, hang on. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. Sorry. Um, but yeah, with that being said, guys, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Take care of your aquariums, and I'll see you around. Take care.